The mountains of Tenerife had fallen eerily silent when Spanish police finally announced what the family of missing British teen Jay Slater had both dreaded and expected for weeks. Human remains had been discovered deep in a ravine, and they were almost certainly his. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. For Jay's mum, Debbie Duncan, the agonizing ordeal that began with her 19-year-old son vanishing on June mornings in the remote Masca Valley had not truly ended with the police's confirmation. Instead, it opened a new raw wound, one that only a mother's instinct could soothe. "She told me she just has to see him one last time," a family friend shared softly. "No matter how hard it will be, she wants to be the one who says, 'Yes, that's my boy.' She wants Jay to know she's there." A mother's agonizing wait. From the first panicked phone call, Debbie's life has been frozen in those moments of June. One minute, Jay was holidaying in Tenerife with friends, full of excitement, laughter, and late-night energy. The next, he was gone, his last phone ping leading authorities into the treacherous Barranco de Juan Lopez ravine. For 4 weeks, Debbie lived in suspended reality. She pleaded for volunteers, begged for police reinforcements, and scanned every breaking headline with shaking hands. At night, she replayed the last WhatsApp messages Jay had sent, her mind circling back to what-ifs and maybes. Every day she would wake with a fragile hope. Maybe he was injured but alive, maybe hiding, maybe someone had taken him in. By nightfall, the hope collapsed under the weight of silence. Now, with the discovery of his remains, Debbie must face the cruelest truth a parent can: Jay is not coming home alive. "I need to see him with my own eyes." For some, the confirmation from fingerprints and forensic teams would be enough. But not for Debbie. Police told her that identification had already been made, that science had answered the question beyond any doubt. Still, her heart refused to let go without a final act of recognition. She reportedly told loved ones, "I gave birth to him. I raised him. If anyone identifies my boy, it has to be me. I need to see him with my own eyes, no matter what state he's in. I want Jay to know his mum came for him." It is a decision both unimaginably brave and profoundly heartbreaking. Friends fear the image could haunt her forever, but they also understand the deep pull of a mother's bond. Closure, for Debbie, does not come in reports or paperwork. It comes in that moment of whispered goodbye, the search that shook 2 nations. The discovery of Jay's body has closed one chapter of a story that gripped not only Tenerife but also Britain. For weeks, headlines carried updates of search helicopters buzzing over cliffs, divers scouring rock pools, and volunteers sweating through perilous treks in 40-degree heat. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. The Spanish Guardia Civil deployed drones, mountain rescue units, and sniffer dogs. British hikers, locals, and even complete strangers joined the effort. Some said they couldn't sleep at night, imagining the teenager lost and frightened in the wild landscape. Despite thousands of man-hours, the ravine kept its secret until late July. His remains were found in a location described by authorities as extremely difficult to access, a cruel reminder of how close, yet impossibly far, he had been all along. Tenerife holds its breath. The Masca Valley, usually a magnet for adventurous tourists, became the stage of tragedy. Locals who had walked those trails their entire lives admitted they couldn't fathom how Jay had ended up so deep into the ravine. "I've hiked there for 20 years, one villager told reporters. If he was trying to walk back to his hotel, he was going the wrong way. That terrain is not for beginners." Some suggested Jay might have become disoriented in the heat, his phone battery dwindling as panic set in. Others speculated he may have fallen during a desperate attempt to climb back toward the road. But for Debbie, theories don't matter. "All I care about now," she reportedly said, "is bringing my boy home." The emotional toll. The news has left Jay's friends shattered. One of them, Lucy, wrote on social media, "We promised we'd all go home together. Now we have to go home without you. I don't know how we'll ever laugh the same again." Back in Lancashire, tributes poured in. His old schoolmates left flowers by the football pitch where he once played. A local cafe where he often stopped with friends taped a photo of Jay to its window, beneath the words, "Forever in our hearts." But none of the sympathy cushions the blow for Debbie. Friends describe her as barely functioning, alternating between numb silence and uncontrollable sobs. "She keeps saying she can still feel him," said a cousin. "That's why she needs to see him. She needs to make peace with what her mind can't accept." The ritual of closure. Grief experts explain that a mother's desire to physically see her child's remains is both natural and deeply human. Visual confirmation can be a powerful step in the grieving process, psychologist Dr. Helena Cross explains. It helps bridge the gap between the cognitive understanding, "my child has died," and the emotional acceptance of that reality. For some parents, not seeing the body can prolong denial. For Debbie, the ritual is less about science and more about love. She wants to stand before Jay, place her hand on him, and whisper the words she didn't get to say when he vanished. "I'm here. I've got you now." Preparing to bring him home. Plans are now underway to repatriate Jay's body to the UK. The logistics are painful but necessary. Coordinating with Spanish authorities, arranging transport, and preparing a funeral that no mother ever expects to plan for her teenage son. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Family friends say Debbie is adamant that Jay's return will not be quiet. "She wants the whole community to come out," said one. "She wants people to see how much he was loved, how much he mattered." A vigil is being discussed, possibly on the football field where Jay grew up playing. Lanterns, flowers, and photographs may light the night sky as neighbors gather to remember the boy with the cheeky grin who never stopped joking. Questions that remain. Even as Debbie steels herself for the identification, questions linger. Why did Jay leave his group that morning? How did he wander so far from safe paths? Could more have been done sooner to find him? The Guardia Civil maintains that no foul play is suspected, but theories still swirl online. Debbie has largely avoided such speculation, focusing instead on the physical act of bringing her son home. "Right now, I don't want blame," she told a confidant. "I just want peace. For him and for us." A mother's goodbye. When Debbie steps into that room in Tenerife, it will be the most difficult walk of her life. She will see not the lively teenager who filled her home with noise and energy, but the fragile remains of what tragedy has left behind. Yet in that moment, Debbie will not see decay or loss. She will see her son. The boy she rocked to sleep, the child she scolded for muddy shoes, the teenager she waved off to Spain with a smile hiding her worry. She will look at him and, with a mother's unshakable heart, she will know, "This is my boy." And with that recognition, she will whisper her final promise, "I love you. I'll carry you with me forever." Legacy of a lost boy. Jay's death has left behind a silence his family and friends will struggle to fill. But in that silence, there is also memory, stories of his mischievous grin, his loyalty to friends, his dreams of building a future back in Lancashire. His name will be remembered not just in news reports, but in the hearts of those who loved him. His story, though tragic, has pulled communities together, from Tenerife's rugged villages to the streets of his hometown. For Debbie, the journey ahead is long and painful. But by facing the hardest moment, identifying her son's remains, she takes the first step toward carrying his memory with strength rather than just sorrow. Conclusion. As Tenerife's mountains fade into the background of headlines and police files, the human story remains at the forefront. A mother, broken but brave, standing in front of her son one final time. It is not the reunion she prayed for, but it is the only one she has left. And in that room, Debbie Duncan will do what mothers have done since the beginning of time, hold her child in her heart and say goodbye. Subscribe the channel to get such videos.